Hi, I'm Hazel. It is almost Saturday, so it's time to sit down and catch up with a brand new vlog, and today is the 1st of June, which means a couple of things. It means we are 2 months and 2 weeks away from the BfA release date, which is not that much time, which is very exciting and also kind of anxiety-inducing depending on how badly you want to do X and Y and Z thing before the expansion releases. It means that we are 3 short weeks from summer being officially underway. It means that I need to make a tax payment today. It means a lot of things, but for now, it is time to talk about WoW and my week. So this week, I did my hair, you probably noticed. In actual WoW stuff on the beta, brand new news, like fresh news this morning. So Francois, who is our buddy, let's see, I'll put him here. Francois, my most excited for battle pet, features heavily in my pet previews. I've gotten very excited about him on a number of occasions, and he's going to require you in BfA, if you want him anyways, he's going to require you to have 1,000,000 gold. He does not require you to spend 1,000,000 gold. He just won't talk to you unless you have 1,000,000 in your pockets on that character. So he hangs out at the very fancy horse place, the North Wington. There's a fancy horse place in BfA, and he hangs out there, and if you talk to him with 1,000,000 gold in your pockets, he will come home with you, and if you do not have 1,000,000 gold, he will just snootily peck at your feet. So this is kind of a cool concept. At first, when I first saw the headline on Twitter, I misunderstood, and I thought it was another 1,000,000 gold sync battle pet. I have in the past spent 1,000,000 gold on the battle pet. I do have a celestial calf. I don't think I regret it. In any case, now that I found out how this one actually works, I am quite relieved that I won't have to spend 1,000,000 because, you know, we're saving up for an auctioneer mount over here. And it's an expensive brontosaurus. Speaking of battle pets on beta, there are even more. I don't know why this continues to surprise me. There are even more in the latest build. I think we were up to over 120 new pets. I don't remember how many we've gotten added in previous expansions, although I feel like they were always a little bit spread out between like the initial bunch and then more and more each patch. I'm assuming we're still going to get more with each patch in BfA, but lots and lots and lots of new pets right off the bat. I am going to do more videos covering them, but because there are so many of them, I think I'm going to kind of choose highlights, you know, do like a couple top 10s, maybe like a top 10 of like the cutest new ones or like the coolest looking, or the ones with the most interesting movesets. I would say the ones with the most useful movesets, but I have a horrible track record of predicting that, so we could just go with, you know, looks like it might have potential. But in any case, tons of new pets, and I'm just getting so excited to collect all the stuff. There's all the pets, and then there's going to be all the toys, and obviously there's all the transmog. It's not like I wasn't being kept busy before, but there will be lots and lots to be kept busy with in August, so something to look forward to. 120 somethings to look forward to. Other news this week, we got an official announcement that there is going to be an MDI, a Mythic Dungeon Invitational at BlizzCon. So a live 5v5, or, you know, probably more teams, but like 5 at a time, Mythic Dungeon race on the BlizzCon stage in November, and I think that's very exciting. At that point, we're going to be about 3 months, 2.5, 3 months into BfA, which is kind of the point of an expansion with Mythic Dungeons, where we're into them and we're pushing keys, but we might not have a lot of experience with like the hip cool kid strat, so that'll be a really fun thing to see on stage, and it's just always cool to see another type of WoW esports represented at BlizzCon. Admittedly, I have never gotten into watching the MDI streams. I've tried, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't really hook me in the same way that other esports broadcasts do, but maybe it'll be a different story live. This week, what I've been up to in WoW, and the reason why I've only put out one actual video this past week, is I finally finished leveling on beta. I finished quite late last night, and this whole week for me has kind of been just like this bizarre off hours old school style WoW binge where I kind of lose track of when I should be sleeping, a bit of checking the clock trying to figure out the last time that I made an actual meal and wondering how long a person can survive off of yogurt and crackers. Just, yeah, an old school WoW binge with several, not all-nighters, but some very, very late-nighters. There was definitely one that went until about 4:30 in the morning, which, having done it again, I don't really recommend. I remember having more fun with those in my teenage years than it was this time. But in any case, I finally did it. I am 120, so that is no longer an excuse for me to not finish a video. I can now check things, do the world quests, all that stuff. And I now have a couple of thoughts and some experience of having leveled. So I did it on a Shadow Priest. And I'm not going to say that Shadow Priest is undertuned, because one, it's beta, and if you say anything's undertuned, you know, they probably haven't finished tuning it yet. But I will say that there were multiple instances while leveling on beta where I would be like struggling with 2 or 3 mobs. I found that 2 was manageable, and with 3 you need to be popping some cooldowns and doing some CC. I would be like struggling with my 3 dudes, and then a demon hunter would come ripping by and pull like 19 things, and then just AoE them all down, and I'd be like looking, just targeting him, looking at his health bar, just being like blatantly jealous while my mobs just like murder me, and he doesn't lose any health. So I'm not saying we're undertuned, I'm just saying that I'm a little bit jealous. Front to back, 110 to 120 took me about 2 hours on average per level. I would say that if you are going efficiently and you are experienced with the quests that you're doing and you're not getting lost at all or getting stuck on quests that some of them are still bugged that aren't completable, you could probably get that down to like an hour if you're really good, or more realistically, an hour and 20, hour and a half per level. So this is definitely going to be a thing, assuming that they keep it at the same pace. Absolutely doable in a weekend. It feels a little bit slower just because there are fewer zones to level in. There's just as much stuff to do, but it's split between 3 zones instead of being split between 5. And there's so much stuff to do in any given zone that if you're trying to stay in a zone and finish everything, depending on the zone, specifically Tiergard Sound was notable for this. You're going to be in there for a long time. I think I leveled 110 to 117 just in Tiergard Sound over the course of 14 hours in this one zone, just finding more and more and more and more things to do. So I think that contributed to it feeling slower, just the fact that you're not constantly getting new scenery, but there is no shortage of things to do. Overall, the 10 level leveling experience doesn't feel too bad. It's definitely something that on a launch day, you could totally marathon in a long weekend. You might be able to marathon it in a short weekend if you really go in. And you may get different leveling speed results depending on what class you play. I also did not mess with war mode at all because I don't want to. I may test it out for the purposes of, making a video and testing it, but on live, I'm not touching it. I don't care how much bonus XP there is. I don't care if I never see another soul in the world and I could have much easily leveled more quickly. I will keep it off the entire time purely for the relaxed, blissful peace of mind feeling of knowing that I don't have to worry about it. I am so excited to be able to just opt out of that. Not that I was ever opted into it before. I played very much on PvE servers, but I'm pretty happy with war mode purely because I can just turn it off. This week in my personal life, aside from my vaguely unhealthy WoW binge, lots of aquarium stuff because that is what I'm very, very much into. So Fletta's tank behind me, can't really see it super well from this angle. You'll get a better view of it on the stream. It looks like a typhoon ripped through there right now, and there is a reason for that. So his fin rot has, I think, completely gone down. His fins are regrowing noticeably every day. They look very clean. Daily water changes have been really good for that, but he's getting new damage on them every couple of days, and it's hard to tell if it's fin biting or fin blowout from spreading or from ripping on decorations or all of the above. It very well could be all of them. But in any case, I am in the process of turning that fish tank into the fish equivalent of a rubber room. I took out the wood, I took out the bridge decoration, I'm going to take out the lantern. Tomorrow, they were all sanded, they seemed safe enough, but he's got to be ripping them on something. I'm going to be replacing the gravel with a fine sand. I'm going to be replacing the lantern with a coconut shell that I can extra super sand and get in every bit of it to make sure it's the smoothest thing ever. And then the only decorations in there aside from that are going to be all of the live plants attached probably to the smooth stone so that there's nothing sharp in there. And I've been doing that gradually over the course of this week, only one change every couple of days so that I don't crash my biological cycle there. But I'm hoping that once it's all done, it helps and his butt grows back. Last night for a fun project, I made something that I'd been wanting to do for a while, which is snail jello, which is not jello made from snails. It is jello made for snails. It's not actually jello. You don't use jello. You do use gelatin. But basically, it's like vegetables set with gelatin, and then you mix in a calcium supplement. You can mix in ground up algae wafers, which I did. But basically, I made that, and I put it in gummy bear molds. So I made these little gummy bear snail foods for my snails. But I'm just kind of in love with how fun that was, and the snails really liked it. So that was a good time. I've got a bunch of those in my freezer, so I can mix those in with the algae wafers and give them a varied and balanced diet. And then also good snail news, and I promise this is the last thing I'm going to say about aquariums in the vlog. This is good news, and you're not necessarily going to get a super accurate image of the exact good news from this, just because colors on the vlog are a little bit wonky still. I know that the blue swirl on the Hearthstone pillow can look really green, but anyways, the good news here is that this is yellow and not green in real life, I promise, and this is light blue and not in any way purple, and that means that the cycle is finished and stable on the snail tank. It's been like this for a good week, and that means that I can get some shrimp for that tank. I'm thinking about doing that this weekend. I'm really excited about it. So thank you for listening to my fish tank talk, and here are the questions from this week. Jack asks, Hazel, your opinion about making gold. Are low or high pop servers best at making gold through the auction house, assuming that you stick with the current expansion's crafting mats, eliminating niche items like mount drops and special event items and transmogs, just taking into account standard like ores, skins, and herbs? So I would say with your stipulations, they're looking at standard stuff. I think, and all of this is guessing because I've only ever played in one type of server, which is kind of like the higher end of medium pop, which I feel like is a good spot. But my impression, based on guessing, is that for those things, you're going to have a better time on a high pop server just because there's so much demand for them. There may be a lot of supply for them, but there's going to be enough demand to keep up with whatever you're putting out, and the prices shouldn't fall too much. My guess, and anybody that's more experienced with economy across different types of populations can correct me here in the comments, but my guess is that in general, a higher pop server is going to be more stable in prices, but a little bit lower on average, while a lower pop server is more prone to big fluctuations depending on who decides that they want to play the auction house that week, because a single player could make a much bigger impact within a smaller population. So yeah, my impression is that high pop servers would be better, but I don't have any experience and I could be very wrong. Maddie asks, random question, if Shadow Priest was taken out of the game, what would you play? I would play a Beast Mastery Hunter because that was kind of the thing that I played before I got into Shadow Priest, or at least the spec that I always went back to. I don't think I would be super happy playing it the way it is now, just because my class fantasy, if you will, of a Beast Mastery Hunter is having that incredible bond with your pet and having a big part of your damage being from your pet, and all of these pet-centric abilities. And in current day BM hunting, there's still a lot of that, but there's also a lot of emphasis on summons and temporary pets and random temporary pets, and I feel less like a wilderness tracker who has a very strong bond to like her best friend bear, and I feel more like somebody who just like almost like a druid who's just calling things from nature out from like the surrounding area to attack the thing, and then they leave, you know? I don't really have an emotional bond with my sneaky snakes, and that I think takes away a little bit from the BM Hunter fantasy for me. So if BM goes in a direction where they tone down the summons and make it more about just you and your pet, then I think that's kind of more what I was looking for. But I don't know if they're ever going to go back in that direction. Wayne asks, hey Hazel, I've always been a Paladin Warrior player, but as I've gotten into raid leading, I was debating picking up Major Priest. Any suggestions? I find it challenging to raid lead from melee as a DPS or melee healer. So I would say this depends on your raid composition and the people that come to your raid. If you have a very sturdy and stable healer line, you don't think you're ever going to need to step in to heal, then I would say mage has more options for damage, so you can make sure that you're always doing something that's kind of towards the top of the meters. And then also portals are just super, super handy. However, if you're going to need to do any healing, then obviously I think a priest is going to be better because you have that option, and shadow is still really fun. Either of them will give you that range that you're looking for. I would also say take a look at whether your raid happens to be short on Bloodlust Heroism. I don't know if most raids have this problem, but ours, at least, for whatever reason, we like lost a lot of our players that played, you know, mages and shamans and whatnot. So having Bloodlust or Heroism under your control as a raid leader might be another benefit to think about. Miranda asks, does your husband play WoW with you? I've tried to get my boyfriend to get into WoW like I am, but it's been too much for him to learn. How do I help him get as immersed? He loves the idea, but has a problem understanding so much content. Thanks for being amazing as always. So, two parts to this. First of all, my husband does not play WoW with me now. He has played WoW in the past. He is a member of our raiding guild, although he has taken the past tier or two off, and I don't know if he's coming back for BfA. So he doesn't play with me currently. Even when he did raid with us, raiding was kind of the extent to what we played together. For the most part, outside of raid, we would do separate things because I didn't spend a whole lot of time doing group content outside of arena, and he's not really a PvP guy. As far as helping a new player get into the game and kind of learn everything that's going on, I think my recommendation for that, and this is pretty common advice, but leveling a character together, having a character that you only play with him, and those two characters go on adventures, do leveling, you know, you guys can go farm materials to craft stuff together, and you can kind of like explore the game organically on as a what seems like fun method, and, you know, trying not to overwhelm him with too many different things at once, just like having one thing be the focus of, you know, hey, it would be really fun if we decided to level leatherworking, so let's go skin 47 deer and then make some pants, you know, that would be a fun date night. It sounds like fun to me. Astro Garlic asks, any update on increasing the pet cap from 1,500 total, or do I need to start auctioning pets to prepare for BfA? Thanks. So not that I know of. I have not yet heard of any intention to increase the pet cap. The last I heard, I vaguely remember them saying that they were looking at it, but weren't thinking that anybody needed it higher, which is weird because, you know, we have more than enough pets to need a higher one if you're going to be keeping multiples of each one. I would say don't auction off your pets unless you really think you don't need them anymore. Like if you have multiples that you use, or if you have like good breeds, you want to keep some extra breeds on hand, don't necessarily auction them. But what you could do is you could have a bank alder or bank character and stash them all in the bank. You know, you can keep quite a few pets in a bank, even more if you get a guild bank set up on a bank alt character. So that's another place that you can store them if you don't have room for them in your pet journal, but hopefully they do look at the overall pet cap for people that like to keep more than one of each pet. Tegan or Tegan asks, do you have an opinion on what should be done for hunter stable space? Please don't say pet mog, please don't say pet mog. What's pet mog? Is pet mog like the concept of transmogging like gear onto your pets? Because I've never heard of that before, and it would be strange if they added it and we had to keep it in our stable. Personally, just me actually, I never really liked dressing up my pets, like in-game or in real life. I did clip a bow tie on my dog at my wedding, and I think that was about it. I don't use really the perky pug costumes in WoW, and I think my cat might, you know, I've got a very nice cat, but I don't think she would be very amused if I tried to put a coat on her. But anyways, hunter stable spots, what do I want to have done? I want them to add more stable slots. I think everybody does. I don't think there's a good reason to not want more stable slots. There's lots of hunters in the game that make a goal out of collecting like one of each appearance or one of each family type, and we have so many pets in the game now that that's not really feasible with the current stable. So the one thing that I would say though is I do want them to add more stable spaces to the stable, but I don't necessarily want it done as just like an extra 10 pages because it's a little bit unwieldy, especially as you continue tacking on more slots. So one thing that I think would be a really cool idea is if they had a way to nest the stable a little bit, like have stables, you know, all in the same stable master, but have tabs for each individual pet family. And then you can have enough slots for each pet family to hopefully encompass the different color, you know, combinations. But you know, this is your spirit beast tab, and this is your cat tab, and this is your dog tab, and this is your, you know, flying, it's been a while since I've looked at hunter pet types, but you know what I mean, you know, having a different field for each of your individual family of pets, and that would be a cool way, I think, for them to add a lot more storage to the hunter stable while also making it easier to navigate. Last question for this week is from Martin. Hi Hazel, question for the vlog. How do you choose the questions that you decide to answer? Just random or what you want to answer that week? Hope that your week went great. Well, thank you. I did have a good week. So I used to, for a long time, just have the room to answer all of them. I didn't really see any reason to not just keep tacking questions onto the end of the vlog, and we didn't get all that many questions in the comments anyways, and sometimes we don't, you know. Sometimes I'll have, you know, 80, 100 comments in a video, and like 2 of them are questions. But now, in the past month or so, and on this video actually particularly, we started to get a few too many questions to touch on the vlog, so I'm starting to have to think about, you know, how I'm gonna pick them. But for the most part, you know, things that I want to talk about, questions that come up a lot that I think would just be good info to have out there, and then questions that sound like they would be fun to put in the video. And there is definitely an element of randomness there, but that is going to bring us to the end of the vlog this week. If you do have a question that you would like answered on the vlog, please leave it in the comments of the most recent vlog, and my apologies if you left a question and I did not get to it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. Bye!